Hey guys, so as Dominic mentioned, I'm Gagan Mack, the product manager on voice and video team at Twilio, and I'm hoping that you all can hear me well. Let's rewind the clock a little bit. When I was a child, 25 years ago, I would call my grandparents who were living far away from me, and I was very close to them, so I would call them using trunk calls. We would book trunk calls, and then the operator would call us back, and we were waiting in the queue for our turn. And these calls, when they would connect, they would not be great quality. My grandparents were old. I would be yelling into the phone, trying to get through to them. And my parents would tell me, ask about their health. Don't talk about your random games, because every second counts. Every single second of the live call counts. 25 years from then, now, that hasn't changed. It's the nature of live calls that is so personal, that every single second with our friends, with our families, with our customers on the calls counts. So when I joined Twilio to lead the Voice Insights product, that became our mission. How do we make the tools, how do we build the tools to ensure that every single second for our customers' calls count? But the interesting part is that in this age of virtual reality and reusable rockets, why do we have to still talk about call quality? Why is it that we haven't fixed it? The truth is that so much has changed, but so much has remained the same. Let's consider this end-to-end call. On one side, you have a laptop, it's a VoIP call. On the other side, you have the regular carrier PSTN call. But the simple two-participant call goes through so many variables. Right from the time you start your computer and try to connect, you have the headset. Is the headset plugged in correctly? How far are you from the microphone? Which browser are you using? Is it updated? Does it need a restart? Does the browser have the permissions to access the audio devices? And when all that is fine, then we have our beloved ISPs and the network. Is there any congestion? The network quality changes every second, and that affects the calls. Or is it Twilio? Is Twilio doing something wrong? Is Twilio messing up? What about the carriers? What about AT&T, T-Mobile? Why did Andrew's call in the last demo did not connect? He said, T-Mobile, don't do this to me. We experience this every day. Why do these calls fail? And then, if everything is fine in the pipeline, what about the user at the other end? Is that user driving through a tunnel? Is that user in a corner of the building or walking through Market Street where the network is not great? When there is so much that could go wrong, then how do we ensure that we are making every call count? And how do we ensure that our customers are covered? The question is, how do we protect our customers, and how do you defend your business, which is built on voice? To address this, in the next 20 minutes, we are going to build a framework for addressing call quality. We're going to do a demo and use some tools to systematically see at what point we can address what kind of problems. And then we'll hear from our fantastic customer who has used this tool to build a great application which is adopted by many, many customers. So what is this framework for addressing call quality? Everything starts before you take off, before you even make a call. So that's prevent. Prevent the call from going bad, which means that we do this, we are used to this. When we get off the airplane, we switch off the airplane mode before making the call. Can we give our users such indicators for every call about the network, about the audio devices, the audio volume? That is preventing the problem. And if something does go wrong, patch the call. Can we fix it while the call is in progress? So in flight. These in-flight fixes are also what we are used to making subconsciously. When we feel that we cannot hear someone on the phone, we start walking around. And we say, wait a minute, let me find better network. Or we try to fix our headset. So we should be providing our users with the same applications even on the soft phones. And when something does go wrong, then how quick are we in diagnosing after the call what happened and how ready we are, how prepared we are to answer every single question. But to do any of these, what we need to do is constantly monitor every single call. So let's dive into each of these sections and see how we can prevent, patch, and promptly diagnose every call. This soft phone, which you see, is built on Twilio's JavaScript 1.4 SDK, which was made generally available just a couple of days ago. Now, thank you, Brian, Ryan, and Joseph for this beautiful design and the demo app. So you see that we have a microphone and a headphone volume indicator. This is available before the call connects to the agents. So right now, if you are sitting on your soft phone thinking about making a call to a customer, then you will know before even you make the call whether your customer will be able to hear you or not, because these volume indicators will show that. The second piece is your audio device selection. So when you're selecting your audio device, you can make the device ring on your headphones, but use the microphone which is connected to the computer. So the JavaScript SDK has APIs to enable you to select the audio devices and choose fallback devices in case one device is non-functional. And then when there is a blip in the ISP's network, we have the network alerts, which you can see right at the top. So in real time, you can see where the network quality is bad, and then have your users understand that the call quality might be impacted, so they might want to save context or tell the end customer that there is a network problem, and this is expected. So we'll see all this in action later. So great, you can prevent and you can patch some of the things. But how do you promptly diagnose obscure issues? Because once the packets leave your computer, then it's the ISP, it's the Twilio, it's carrier. It could be any of that, which is where things are going wrong. And that's where Voice Insights comes in. So Voice Insights helps you monitor and analyze your call quality in real time, so that you are aware of what your agents are experiencing, what your users are experiencing. And how does Voice Insights do that? So first piece is the live call metrics. These are statistics, network statistics, which affect the call. And jitter, latency, packet loss, these are all factors which are adversely affecting call quality at all times. We have thresholds set for these. Jitter is the variability in latency. So imagine that your data packets your media packets are not arriving consistently, and there's some inconsistency in the latency there. So it causes garbled audio, choppy audio. Packet loss causes, again, choppy audio, one-way audio, and these kinds of scenarios. At the end, we have the mean opinion score, which is the measurement of call quality, which is the ITU standard. Usually, it's above 4 for good quality. So all these statistics for every single second of the call are presented in near real time by Voice Insights. But the metrics are incomplete without the actual environment, understanding the actual environment of the user. So the actual environment of the user, which contains the browser version, the IP address, the region, location, all this information helps you know exactly what were the variables that the metrics are associated with and where the problems are. Combining these metrics and these variables, you can build dashboards for your entire account. For your entire account, now you know which calls were terminated because of a problem or dropped, which calls were affected by network problems but continued just fine, and how many calls failed to connect in the first place. And all this data can be sliced by IP addresses, by individual client names, so you know which are the top affected clients. So you have very granular information on your customers right away. Let's see all this in action. So I'm going to use this phone to make a call. If I can figure out, yeah, there it is. Dominic, you ready? Yeah. Cool. So the call is connected now.
Hey,
Hey, Dominic, how are you doing?
good, good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for organizing this. And tell me, what do you love about your job while I pull up the call logs?
First of all, I totally love being here at Signal. I think we saw some really cool stuff. I see some really cool stuff right now, and I'm actually really curious how that's going to go. Hopefully, everything is going to work out, but I have trust in you in there. So
I hope so, too, that my demo
I'm
goes
also
well.
really stoked about this silent disco thing,
Yeah, that's
especially because I don't hear myself right now, but everyone seems to be looking at me, which is a bit creepy.
Yep. So as Dominic is talking, we are pulling up the metrics. Let's enable live refresh. So we'll see exactly what metrics are coming through. So this is the jitter latency of this call, which is in progress right now. But when everything goes great, it's never a great demo. So let's screw things up a little bit.
Yay!
So we
That
have this
sounds like
network
fun.
link conditioner, which will simulate bad network. So what it'll do is it'll introduce about 10% packet loss and 500 milliseconds of delay. And then we'll ask Dominic how he's still doing. All right.
Can you still hear me loud and clear?
There is a little bit of
Because
latency.
at least I'm convinced that this should work.
So very slight
Can we make this work?
deterioration. So there you see
Do
that
you still hear me?
we have the network indicator in the browser itself, which is very sensitive to any kind of latency problems. And I'll have to switch this off because my laptop will not refresh the screens otherwise. And within a few seconds, you start seeing that the latency went up, the packet loss increased, and the mean opinion score dropped. So this is call quality monitoring in real time. Thanks, Dominic.
Thanks, that's pretty cool.
And when this call ends, it's important to gather feedback because that way we can know exactly which agent or which user is experiencing what problems. So let's see. The call audio was delayed, and submit the feedback. When you submit this feedback is posted through the Voice Insights dashboards, and you will be able to see this. So what does this data look like when we aggregate it for all our entire account? So let's see. Over the last one day, I've been practicing my demo, so 16 calls. And then we have a total of 64 calls, the calls that were terminated with error, affected by network, who disconnected the call, and what was the feedback score on these calls. And then we can slice these by numerous ways. What were the problems we are observing by client, IP address, and which direction and region. Cool. So let's go back and how does Voice Insights help? So call tracking metrics is another one of our customers. And Todd said that there was a particular case in Hawaii when their customer was having a problem, consistent problem. And over a period of time, they were really upset. With Voice Insights data, Todd was able to show them that it is the local ISP's problem, and they were able to get the problem fixed up very, very quickly, which helped call tracking metrics save a customer. So far, so good. But this doesn't complete the story. Because we have the carrier leg, the call Dominic received was on my phone. It was still a cellular call over AT&T. So what about this carrier call? Voice Insights is covering only one part of the picture. But now we are excited that we have extended Voice Insights as of yesterday to cover the carrier calls as well, which means that you will have end-to-end call quality monitoring. The call quality KPIs include who is hanging up the call on both legs, which carrier is handling the call. So you can see AT&T Wireless, that's my number. Which device type? Is it mobile, landline, VoIP? And the same network metrics which I just showed. End-to-end call quality monitoring requires us to understand the carrier, the ISP, and Voice Insights is now covering both. With the aggregate dashboards which we are building for Carrier Insights, you will have a view of the global mobile operators of the global carrier network, and you can see how many users in which region are affected because of carrier quality problems. Now, these are the cases where when there is an obscure systemic issue or an outage with a carrier, and your customers are calling you and saying, what is going wrong? If you do not have the data, you could think that we are going to debug and we are going to figure out very quickly, and while your customer waits, they're getting impatient, they're getting worried, as we do as well. And when you do have the data, they know that they have made the right decision by going with you because you are ready with all the answers at all times. There is still one piece left, though, right? We covered the internet, we covered the carriers. What about that last mile on the left side of the screen? What if your end user, is going through a tunnel or has a certain device-specific problem? How do you get that? We are also introducing audio trace. With audio trace, you can visualize your end user's experience and play back the actual call audio to address that last mile problem. This is an example of audio trace. You can play back the call audio separated by each channel, and we'll soon be adding anomaly detection, which would be like silence detection, one-way audio detection, and any garbled voice detection. Let's see this demo as well. So for the call I just made, what did the carrier network metrics look like? Logs. So there you see, the call was hung up by client, like I hung up the call. The call was it took 4 seconds to connect. It was made over AT&T, and let's look at the metrics for this call. And there were 2 participants in the call. So this call has audio trace enabled, and we can hear the entire conversation.
Hey.
Hey, Dominic, how are you doing?
Good, good. How are you? But I have trust in you. And
Dominic is talking. We are pulling up the metrics. Let's enable live review. So this data is available to you in real time. And when we introduce the packet loss, you can see how the outgoing stream had packet loss as well. So this is what we mean by enabling end-to-end call quality monitoring. So I'm going to go back to the presentation mode. All right. So all this would be incomplete without actually hearing from our customers and understanding what they think about this. So one of our biggest customers, Zendesk, they have this customer Taylor Stitch, and to understand how Voice Insights help them and what Zendesk Talk is all about, it's my honor to invite Ryan Nichols, the GM of Zendesk Talk, on stage.
Great, thanks,
Ryan.
Hi, everybody. I love hearing those sort of quotes from our customers, and frankly, I haven't always been getting that sort of feedback from them, and tools like Insights from Twilio have been a big part of moving in that direction. So my name is Ryan Nichols, General Manager of Zendesk Talk. Talk is call center software that's built right into the Zendesk support ticketing system. It allows customer support agents to receive phone calls, log those as tickets, allows managers of call centers to listen in on those calls, allows ticket sharing across all of your support agents, and it's all built right into Zendesk, which is a very popular customer support system. Now, we really specialize in supporting the omni-channel agent, right? Somebody who's spending some of their time answering phone calls, some of their time doing emails, some of their time doing chat, and that's always led to a difficult to support product. But because Talk is entirely powered by Twilio, we've been able to use insights to help support our customers and make them successful with Talk. What that looks like, actually give you just a little bit more orientation so you see the sort of scale that we're talking about here. We've got 7,000 customers using Talk around the globe, 40 different countries. We've been at this since 2011, and our customers ring up 3 million minutes every single month. And it's a global team. We do our development out in Dublin, Ireland, and really support a variety of customers that range from companies that are just signing up for their very first phone number, just getting started offering phone support, all the way up to companies that have hundreds of agents answering the phones and working the phones and talking to customers every day, to innovative teams that have entirely remote teams of agents that are doing customer support. So we really have lots of different types of customers that use Zendesk Talk. And so, again, supporting them has been a little bit of a challenge. So that's where Insights comes in. So this is an actual screenshot, right, that's been anonymized of the sort of insight screen that our support team would bring up when we get an issue with audio quality from one of our customers. It looks very similar to the demo you've been seeing from Gagan today. And there are a couple of benefits, right? One is it really helps us hone in on problem location or problem agents. A lot of times we'll get a pretty vaguely defined complaint about call quality. This really helps us hone in. In this example, for example, a customer might have called with, hey, some of my agents are complaining about call quality. What do you do with that, right? That's a very difficult thing to diagnose. We can use Insights to say, well, it looks like this specific agent that we can look up in our system to find their name and specific location, looks like most of the issues that have been affected by network are coming from that specific agent. And you can see that all these jitter complaints probably tied to this one person. And we can, when you ask them, a lot of times they'll say, oh yeah, that's Joe. He's been working from home recently. Or, oh yeah, that's Joe. We just moved him to the desk in the basement, right? Where maybe the network connection isn't as good. And so being able to hone in like that on a specific location, a specific agent, really helps us be proactive about it, because sometimes with our bigger accounts, we can look at these dashboards and when we do our regular success reviews, identify exactly where the problems are. Insights is always on. That helps us react very quickly to any sort of issues we see. Before, we used to be in the situation where somebody would raise an issue about audio quality. We'd have to say, sorry you're experiencing that. Let me turn on audio trace. Let me wait, see if we can collect some problem calls, and then we can do diagnostics. Because we have Insights on all the time, it allows us to respond very quickly to any sort of issues that our customers are seeing. And finally, most importantly, it just changes the dynamic that we have with our customers to a dynamic of a little bit of, he said, she said, it's my problem, it's your problem, to now we're in joint problem solving mode, right? This just puts all the information on the table so that we can dig in and solve these problems together with our customers, which is how we want to be solving these problems, right? We don't want to be in the blame game. We want to just be fixing the problems that our customers may be experiencing. And there's just an awful lot that can happen between the mouths of your customers and the ears of your agents. And so being able to get insight into that entire journey, it's been great being able to have that on the network side of things with client insights, and really looking forward to also doing the same with PSTN insights and getting the other side of that equation. So that's a little bit about Zendesk Talk, and how we've been using insights. Thanks, Gagan, for a great product.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Good stuff.
So that's pretty much it, guys. I will be outside taking questions on client insights, on voice insights for carriers, audio trace, welcoming all questions, all customers. Thank you so much.